Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's live stream. My name is Solomon Eseme, and I am the pioneer, or shall I say, the founder of backend developers community. Okay, so this community is basically where we talk about everything and anything that is relating to backend development. Okay, so over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about backend, introduction to backend, and then we talk about deploying an application to digital ocean. So today we'll be talking about serverless programming, where Philemon is going to be taking us through the creation and deploying of a cloud application using AWS Amplified and other technologies. Okay, so I want you guys to stay tuned and let's get it out. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Philemon and he's going to take us through this live stream. Philemon is a software developer, is a man stack, you guys like calling it that. Okay, so he's going to come up and introduce himself more. Philemon,
Yeah. Okay, guys.
okay, so let's hear you.
Um, Good day, guys. I'm Akwagu Philemon, software developer, as said. So today we are going to be talking about AWS serverless functions. We're going to have a practical guide on creating a chat application with AWS serverless. And as you can see, I've created a GitHub repository for whoever that is going to be watching this. So you can easily just clone, move to the front end branch, so you'll be able to follow through. I've listed the commands that we're going to be using majorly for this workshop. So let's get started. Okay, before we start, I'd like to show you guys what we're going to be working on briefly. Yeah, so let me just share my screen. Yeah, so okay, I think it's sharing. So it's going to be a real-time application, as you can see. Um, I'm opened on two tabs so that I'll be able to show you guys how real time it is. So just checking it out. My apologies for the UI do because I only had very few hours to put this up. Yeah, so I think we can get started now. First of all, what is serverless? Serverless is simply an application deployment solution that eliminates the need to maintain complete host environment for an application. Instead of having set up a virtual machine like Docker, that's Docker container, in order to execute code, your DevOps team can simply upload individual functions to a serverless environment to execute them. What do I mean? So we are mostly backend developers here, even front-end developers who can do from this. So in the past, you had to like set up your server yourself, setting up NGX, everything, your database, your everything. But now you can make use of serverless functions to easily deploy really, really nice applications. So in this workshop, we're going to be talking about four major services or functions that AWS provide us with in order to perform this serverless technology stuff. So although the most popular one is Lambda, but we're not going to be talking about that here. We're going to be talking about AWS Amplify, AWS AppSync, DynamoDB, and Cognito User Pool. I would like to just define them so that you will be familiar with them. So AWS Amplify is a set of tools and services that enable mobile and front-end developers to build secure, scalable full-stack applications like really, really quickly. Um, like I said in the past, you needed to configure a server before being able to deploy your React application. That's if you're using AWS infrastructure. But now you can easily make use of the AWS Amplify to deploy your React app, a full stack application, front end, back end, easily without stress. We're also going to be talking about AWS AppSync. AWS AppSync is a new service in public preview that enables you to manage and update mobile data in real time between devices and the cloud, and it allows applications to interact with data on mobile devices even when it's offline. The third one is DynamoDB. DynamoDB is like basically just your database. So when I spoke to a friend about serverless, he was asking me questions like, "Do serverless save your data?" Because they believe that okay, serverless, when you're supposed to go offline, your data is lost. Your data is going to be stored in DynamoDB, a NoSQL database that is hosted on the AWS. We're also going to be talking about Cognito user pool, but we're going to be talking about this briefly because we're not going to be implementing it in this particular workshop because of time. So Cognito user pool is basically authentications like OAuth. If you make use of OAuth, I'm sure most of you must have seen stuff like sign up with Google, sign up with Facebook. Yeah, that's what OAuth is. Cognito user pool is like that. They provide you with various authentication and authorization functions, so you can customize your Cognito user pool the way you like. So I'm going to be moving to the practical aspect now. I just wanted to introduce you to serverless for those that have not read the article I wrote a few weeks ago. You can always go back to it. I try and put it in the description below. So let's move to the practical aspect of this. Let me share my command line screen. Okay, okay, okay. So let's go here. So this is the um this is going to be a walkthrough on how to set up your Amplify project on the console. So before 2018, how you usually do it is you go to the AWS console to set up each service individually. But AWS in 2018 came up with a new command line interface. They call it the AWS CLI, AWS Amplify CLI. So if you check the GitHub repository, you will see most of these commands. So you start with initializing your React project. I'm sure most of you can do that. I won't be able to do that here because it's going to take time installing, So the normal npx create React app, then the name of your project or something. But because of time, we will not be doing that. Then the next thing you do is you install the Amplify CLI. If you've not installed it already, you have to install it. This is how to install it. You can always check the GitHub repository I created. Simply run amplify install-g. You have to install it as a global um, package. Then after you've installed it, you'll be provided with something like this. You can easily just type amplify help. It's going to show you all the possible commands you can run with your amplify CLI. So amplify init is basically as it says, it's going to initialize a new project. It's going to set up the deployment resources in the cloud and make your project ready for amplify. Amplify configure, as you can see, the attributes of your project, as you can see. Then amplify push, probably when you are done creating and configuring your serverless backend. Amplify push is what push the serverless. The your from your local state, like where you have GitHub push origin master here, pushing your local state to your cloud data server. Amplify publish, we push both the front end and the back end. So amplify push, we push only the front end. Amplify publish, we push both the front end and the back end. You also have amplify mock API. Yeah, amplify mock is going to create a mock of what okay, let me put it like this. Amplify mock, after you've created your backend, if you want to test it before pushing, before deploying, unlike some other serverless functions, you can actually do it on your local state. So without wasting time, I think we should get to it. So after you've created and logged into your um, Amplify console, you and installed your Amplify CLI, you can simply run Amplify config. I would love to walk you through the configuration. I'm even going to create a new user because of this workshop. So let's just exercise a little patience. While we're doing that, in this tutorial, we're going to be using GraphQL, that's AppSync. So GraphQL is, I'm sure most of you already know what GraphQL is. We're going to be making use of Amplify, that's AWS Amplify package. to do GraphQL operations rather than using the normal um, Apollo. So let's get to it. You are to choose one of these. You have to choose either the US. Sorry, excuse me. Okay, the US East one, the US West one, or the US Central one. The reason why is because I think that's where the AppSync functions are. Yeah. So let's go with the US West 2. That's for the region. Then you can give the user a name. That's the username you are going to be working with. So most times, some people will create new projects and give the project name the username, so they'll be able to keep track of each user and each environment. So let's give this one workshop. Press. Then I think I need to change. Okay, okay. Let me share my screen with you, so you'll be able to see the walkthrough on how to create your user.
Hello guys. So while Philemon is trying to share his screen, you can basically subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you get notified whenever we want to do any other live stream.
Yeah, yeah. So sorry for that. So you put in your username. That's you must have created your AWS account in the past. Simply put in your username. After doing that, you get to. So I'm doing this walkthrough so that even though you are just starting, you can easily just move to AWS quickly. Um, so this is going to be. This is not supposed to take this long. Okay, so this is going to look. That's the username you put in the command line. It automatically writes that for you. You can simply just next through all these parts, except you know what you are doing. As you have to be a professional to really understand what's going on here. But just for a start, you can easily just go through the wizard. So you need this key. This is the access key. So you copy it and you share it in your. Wait, let me also show you guys that. Mm, okay. Sorry for this. So I'll show you where to, because when I was initially learning it, I had issues with this part. So you move to this access key here and then you paste it here. Then you come back and get your hidden key. There's an hidden key there. So you get it from the secret access key. You can also see that. Yeah. So usually on command line, that's on Windows command line, it usually gives this error probably because of the hidden keyboard. Definitely, if you are going to be making use of your integrated terminal, it's not going to give this error. If you are using Bash, um, I think I should have used Bash instead of my CMD. Most times I use Bash just because I'm displaying. Okay, so but there's no problem. It will definitely be created. Then to initialize your project, you simply run amplify init. So what this is going to do, like I said in the past, is going to create your project and push it to cloud. This is going to be a walkthrough. So the project name, you can give an environment. Most times I like giving my environment dev. Um, Automatically it will start detecting what environment you are. It will detect you're on Visual Studio Code, you are writing JavaScript, you are writing React. It's going to be in the source build, everything. It will ask you if you want to use AWS profile. AWS profile is what we created. That's the IAM user we created when we ran Amplify Configure. I've created a lot of them in the past on several projects I've worked on. So I think the most recent one I created was Groupers, and that's what I'm going to choose because I created it for this particular workshop. That's what I used to create the app there. So can you see it's going to add a backend environment and it's going to initialize the project in cloud. So while that is working, um, let's talk briefly on Amplify, that's GraphQL, I mean. So even though you're not familiar with GraphQL, let me just give you a basic breakdown because I will not be demonstrating that here. So um, GraphQL, unlike a REST API, when you are creating a REST API, we all know that you need to create a CRUD. Um, that's you have your posts, your puts or patch, delete and get. But when it comes to GraphQL, we only have your mutations, your queries, and your subscriptions. So mutations are basically everything you are going to create. Mutations involve updating and creating, while queries involve getting. So since that has been created, we're going to run amplify add API. So when I ran the amplify command line help, you saw amplify add, and the sub command for that is amplify add API. You can also add amplify add auth. That's to add your computer user pool to your API. You can also run several kinds of things. You can add storage. You can add whatever service you want to make use of. That's the services I explained in the past. So after you run amplify add API, it will also run you through a form of okay, you can choose GraphQL since we're going to be making use of that. That's where AppSync lies. Um, you choose the name of the application. That's sorry, the name of the API, and you choose workshop. Then authorization type. If you choose Amazon Cognito user pool, it will basically just take you through another process of creating and customizing your user pool. But we're going to be working with API key. Um, how many days? So your API key should expire in how many days? Most times I just like using 365 so that I don't have to come back to update it again anytime soon. Do you want to configure advanced? No. Do you have an annotated schema? No. Do you have a guided? Do you want it? No, I don't want this. So if you work with GraphQL, you know that they always have to be a custom type. They always have to be a type. If not, you will get an error. So that's what it's doing. It's going to create a custom type for us. So now let's move to something more practical. So let me share my screen once again. So after you run amplify, create the amplify init and you go through the workflow, you will automatically be given this file. This file will be created with this. So as you add APIs, as you do things, it will be written here. That means the keys, the whatever form of authentication you're using, they are going to be here. That's it. They will also provide you with this guy, this folder. This folder contains metadata and your backend as well. Metadata is like the environment you are in, amplify configurations and all. So when you go to your backend, when you want to create a schema, this is the API we just created, and this the custom schema they give us. But in this workshop, we are going to be working with our own custom schema. So if you are not familiar with AWS per se, if you're not familiar with GraphQL, I mean, yeah, so you can a schema type. If you're familiar with TypeScript, you should know what type languages are. Let me give you a basic walkthrough of some things. Yeah, so this is the custom schema I'm going to be working with. This is what they call directive. There are 10 directives currently that I know of. You can always check it out. I am going to also put a link to the site where you can get this. That's the documentation. They have the at model, the at auth, the at connection, at key, at searchable. There are 10 there, and they have their individual functions. Let me just explain what at model is doing here. So to create a CRUD model, that means to create updates resolvers, to create resolvers, subscriptions, queries, and all. You simply use the at model directive. It can also come with some other um, parameters like subscription. You can specify what kind of subscription you want. I know, but most times I just like leaving it as it is. Yeah, so AWS is really flexible. You can get to do whatever you want there, so far as you know how to customize your resolvers. Um, Probably we'll talk about that in another video. So let me share another screen to you guys. Yeah, so my command line again. Okay. So after doing that, that's after updating my GraphQL schema. If you have Java installed on your system, this bug, like this stuff, will really, really throw you off if you go and learn it elsewhere. If somebody that is doing it did not tell you. So, not to mock, I told you about mocking API, right? To mock your API after you've created it. That's after you've configured your GraphQL schema to mock the API so you'll be able to use it on development environment. You run amplify mock API. But note something, if you don't have Java installed on your system, this function is not going to work. They will always give you an error. So you need to install Java and set it up correctly for this function to work. You can always check up YouTube on how to install Java. Okay, there's a port running already. Yeah, yeah, that's why. Okay, sorry for that. Let's run it again. Sorry for that. The port I was running was what I used to demonstrate the previous project. So since Java is installed on my system and the port is no longer the mock API is no longer running on the other side, I think this should work now. So while that is loading, let me take you through the configuration that is on React now, how to configure this stuff we created. Let me just show you a workflow on how to do that. Okay, so you simply come here. That's in your index.js file. You simply post copy and paste from the GraphQL from the GitHub repository I created. You will have this there. So I've written it there for you so it will be easier for you. So we have this. So oh, I forgot something though. Okay, so if you go through the if you go to the GitHub repository I created, you have to also run this command. That's to install um, the Amplify CLI, sorry, the AWS Amplify package. That's what we're going to be using to make our GraphQL queries and all. Um, yeah. So let me take you back to our console. That's our terminal. So you see what I'm about to do. Okay, so after I run Amplify mock API, you'll be provided with this. You can simply just press enter all through. They ask you, do you want to generate all possible GraphQL operations like mutations and queries? So what this will do is going to generate your mutations and queries for you, so you don't have to write them by yourself. You can simply just say yes. I like leaving mine at 2. This means like how nested should your API be and all. So if your schema was annotated correctly, you should have your endpoints running on this. Okay, so let's move to um, more configurations. That's moving to the most practical aspects. Okay. Oh, sorry. Here is wrong. Okay. So since the point of this whole tutorial is not for the front end aspects, I've taken it upon myself to create the front end. Now let me just give you a walkthrough on what is going on currently. So I created everything is in the app folder and app file. So I created the app function. This is basically just for the UI. You can check it out later at your leisure. Then we have chat bubbles since we are going to be working with since we are going to be creating a chat app. This modal is where we get to input our username. That's when you just load the application. You can input your username so that it recognizes you as the user and your messages will be saved there. Um, then yeah, that's it. The CSS is in index.css. You can check that out later since that's not the point of this particular demo. So let's move to more practical aspects. So since we've set up amplify our amplify project, since it's running now on the ports that it is automatically here will be updated. I told you whatever service you add will be updated in the AWS export. So automatically it means this is running there. Then we can make use of this guy. So to have queries and mutations, let me to have queries and mutations. I told you before, if you are familiar with GraphQL, you make use of Apollo. But since we are working with AWS has given us a wonderful function, a wonderful package called AWS Amplify. It's very easy to work with. I learned this whole serverless stuff in less than a week, and when I learned it, I didn't even know what GraphQL was. It's that easy. So this is basically your reducer. So if you are going to be working with state while working with real-time updates, using use state won't actually work in this scenario. We've tried it in the past. It won't work. It will not just work. I don't know why. I initially even tried using use state because I didn't want us to go through resolvers and all, reducers and all. So use reducer is not really complex. It's like a normal Redux store, normal Redux state. You have actions and this you can dispatch actions and you can save states as your user. So I'll be showing you create a GraphQL, um, how to create a GraphQL operation. Let's perform few operations before we move on, so you will get a feel on how easy GraphQL can be. Okay, so this is the port, or this is where our GraphQL server is working in. So because we are using Amplify, automatically they will give us the the operations we can perform. So we can get message. This message type is from the schema we created. If you check it out later, you see a schema where we created this type. Then the list messages is a query to get all messages. So they also give us this wonderful UI where you can select what you are querying for. Yeah, unlike the REST API where the data being sent is determined by the backend. So in GraphQL, the data being received is determined by the front end. Like really, really nice concept. So you can decide to choose ID, message, user ID, and username. Let's say I to look. So currently, probably there's no message. Yeah, I just created a new project, so there's not going to be any message. Let me create a message now. So we test this out. So to create a mutation, I told you what mutations are. Anything that have to do with creation or updating, that's a mutation. So you okay, see it here. You can delete, you can update. So every other aspect of prod, apart from getting, that's apart from get, it's under mutation. So let's create a message now. The message ID should be handled by amplifier. Let's give it our own ID. So you can simply just do this. Simply just put a message. Hello guys. User ID 123. Normally in a reproduction environment, I feel have to you will have to do this ID stuff with, as in you have to use it with a custom ID creator that is going to be UUID or whatever you want. But for as for this one, that's as for the primary key, it's going to be generated by AWS themselves. Then if you try to create like this, you will notice you get an error. So let's wait for the error. You're supposed to get an error if you are making use of it on your regular console, because if you do not put a kind of data you want to receive, that's if you are mutating without trying to get a form of data, it will respond with an error. But since we're using their console and their GraphQL API, they automatically input something for you to get. Let's try getting username, and we have to change this ID. So you can see it here. Then if I want to list messages, I can simply come here and query. So I've told you before, query is basically get. So list messages will give you get all. You can choose the kind of data you want to get, and then you run it. So look at the two messages I just created now. Looking very nice. Okay, I hope with that you understand. Then subscriptions are like your socket. If you work with REST API, you work with Node and you switch stuff. They're like sockets. So they create a form of, should I say, connection or real-time features. So whatever will be, that's every client that is connected to a certain subscription will be able to send data in real time. That's what we're going to be using for this chat application. So in this stuff, in this workshop, I'm going to be showing you both create message, um, get message, and as well as subscriptions. So my let's move to the project itself, so we'll be able to do something nice there. Okay, so here we have it. So I've explained what this does. Then, if you notice, because of when I was mocking the API, I gave permission to create every possible operation that will be done with this GraphQL server. You have your mutations here. Normally, if you are doing this, it will take you days to write this stuff. As in, they can be as complex as possible. You also have to write resolvers. I created this application in just 4 hours yesterday night. Just 4 hours or less. So these are your queries. You can get message. This is what was showing in the console there. Then last, these are your subscriptions. So AWS Amplify CLI automatically generates this for you, so you'll be able to use them. Now let's move to how to actually use these things, these operations. So the AWS Amplify package provides you with um, two functions, the API and the GraphQL operation. Let's try to do something there. Let's try to do something with it. So I've created a function named create message, and let me just move some things into this place and then explain it to you guys. Sorry if this is not going to be very beginner friendly in terms of the React that's happening, but that's not the main purpose of this workshop. So I don't want to go into too much explanations. But let me just do this for beginners. You have your form, creating a normal React form. On submit, should execute this action. Check it out here. Create message to execute this action. So what is going on here is after we've set our states as our reducers and all, when we create a message, it should get the message from the current state. You can set this state how you like. That's why I'm not explaining it. You can set that, you can get your input data whatever way you like. You might use states, you might use resolver, you may even use redux. Depends on what is comfortable for you. Then you get the message, you create how you want it to be sent. So since the amplified GraphQL AppSync server is going to automatically generate the ID for you, you need not specify it, but you can as well if you want to. That's optional. So this is the data we're creating. Yeah, this is what we're going to be creating. And this is how you do it. This is how you do it. So the API we imported from here, look at it working here. So the API have a method called GraphQL. If you were to be using Apollo, you would go through the stress of, okay, I currently don't know GraphQL, I have to go and learn Apollo. But with AWS, you don't need to go through that learning curve. It's just as easy as this. Every operation we do like this, just note it down. We are making it an async function because we're using await. So GraphQL operation create message. I'm getting this create message. A this is an operation that I'm getting from the GraphQL. Look at it here. I'm getting from GraphQL mutations. See it here. This creates message. But since I'm going to be having a function named create message, I try to import it as create message with a capital letter. That's I use the Pascal case. You can use whatever case, and you can use whatever name you like, but this is what I choose to use. Then what is going on here is after it creates the message, and console I logged the result because I was debugging. You don't have to do that. So this dispatch function here is gotten from the resolver. Redux guys should be able to know this. Whatever state manager you're using, I believe you should be able to set this up. This is what is going on here. So set stocks. Um, this is where the that's when you get your messages, when you get your data from. We are going to make use of this action to set them into state. The initial state is just message and an empty array. Messages is the empty array. Then we can also set inputs. The set input is controlling the input field. That's what is setting message here. So this that's where I was able to get message from. Clear input is to clear the state. Why this add talk is going to be for the real-time effect. So I would have coded this like real time, but to save time, that's why I'm copying and pasting it. So after creating your message and you save it to state, um, let me try to run. Okay, I think it's running. Then take a look at this very well. Then now let me create a query operation. I'm just going to be explaining it because I don't want to waste time. From time to time, probably we will have more seminars where we're going to explain this more. So this is what we have. Yeah, there's no big deal here. It's just um, error handling, try catch, and the regular stuff. So what is going on here is simple. GraphQL operation, the same API dot GraphQL, API.GraphQL. GraphQL operations, we're importing it from AWS Amplify, and I'm making use of it here. So what this is going to do for my React guys, oh, I should have told you I'm going to be making use of React earlier. So get data, use effects. Use effects is as when components mount. If you are familiar with React. So whenever this component is mounted, we want to get data. Get data is going to list messages like what I showed you in the browser, how to perform basic operations. Then we're going to call it dispatch. So the message data, I'm going to still show you guys it in the practical sense, but for now, let's just walk through it. So the message data is going to be nested in data, nested in um, data, list messages, and items. So I'm simply just getting it from there and dispatching an action so that to be set in state, that's in the general state, that's this guy. So those are the two basic operations. I really wish I could go deeper into this, but I don't want to take much time. That's why I'm kind of in a hurry. But like I said, probably as time goes, we have more sessions on this. We talk about storage, talk about so many things. We probably will even create a multi-user application. That was like the last project I did. So um, yeah, I forgot to talk about this on change. Like I said, how to undo your input. Then when we talk about AppSync, I made mention of something real-time data retrieval and data sending. That's creating a socket, and I talked about subscription. Subscription. So let me just copy and paste that. Then I will show you guys what is actually going on in full details. So unlike the tutorials you find elsewhere, any tutorial that is not on backend community or any workshop that is not on backend community, they won't tell you some of the things I'm telling you now. There are things I had to discover after going through months of debugging. So this subscription here, for each subscription is like when an action occurs, when an operation occurs, that's when invitation occur, a subscription will run. Let me show you something. So in the subscription file that was created, you have on create message, on update message, on delete message. What does that sound to you? They sound like actions, like event listeners. My JavaScript front end guys, event listeners. So meaning whenever you create a message, so whenever I create a message here, sorry that I'm not typing all this from scratch. I don't just want to waste time. I just have to apologize. So when you create a message here, you can see when you create a message here, automatically an event listener is waiting for the message to be created. And as the message is created, this listener here is going to respond with something they call event data. So this is what is going on here. We are still making use of our GraphQL operation, and on create message is gotten from here. We imported it from the subscription. That's subscription in AWS and GraphQL operations that I showed you guys in the past. So how we're calling it is we're going to make use of the normal GraphQL operations, and then we get the event data. I'm going to still show you guys this stuff practically. I just want to do a run through. This is this guy here is saving the username. So when I logged in initially, that's when I opened the browser initially and logged into this. A modal will come up asking for your username and it's being saved in your local storage. In a real world application, you will go through creating a user type that's in your GraphQL schema. You go through creating a user type, message, conversation, and all. But since we're making it a conference chat application, that's no private chatting, or you can simply just get messages. I hope in future I'll be able to create a multi-user chat application here also. So when the event is gotten, we are going to add it to our state. So let me show you some practical example. That's this code is available to you actually on GitHub, on the repository I created um for this course. Yeah. So that's just the basics of serverless. Let me show you a um a practical aspect of what we just walked through. So I think I showed you guys in the beginning. Okay, coming. Sorry for that. So this is just okay. Let me try to start this guy up. So to start up your development environment, if you are going to be working on a local environment, you have to mock the API first, then you can start your React app. Okay, so that's it. Then okay, while that is loading, let me show you guys something else. Let me show you in case you are done with your application and you want to deploy your backend. That's after you finish your development and you want to move it to the cloud. I told you guys about Amplify Push. You also have Amplify Push API, Amplify Push Auth, Amplify whatever you want. You can simply just Amplify Push, and that will automatically push all you've been doing so far to to the cloud. I'm actually waiting for this for my development environment to get to start. Okay, so this is going to take a time. So since are running now, okay. And so I'll be moving to the browser now to show you guys what I've been talking about. Okay. So if you want to continue with this operation, that's you're showing your current environment, dev environment, that's what we set in the creation. You can always oh, I put no. Since I'm not deploying it, I don't want to because you know AWS your usage I know. I don't want to waste my usage. So you can also run amplify status to check the status of your current project. So when you run amplify status, it show you your environment. You can like Git, you can move from one environment to another. Probably if you want to test something and you don't want to tamper with your main environment, you can always just amplify, switch to another environment. You can create a new environment like maybe um, working environment and the same way you have branches in Git. I like making references so you easily understand what I'm saying. Okay, yeah, I think okay it has been my the project has finished loading. So let me show you how it's going to look like. Okay, sorry for that. So let me share my screen to you guys. So I think this should be it. Yeah. So now let me show you. to the console. What I was trying to do. I don't want to be switching through tabs too much. That's why I'm making it like that. I don't want to be switching from my. So if I send a message, hey, this is what I get. You remember I logged I logged the state. So this is the current state. It's going to be updated. Then the state we have messages, an array. Then we have the current message here. That's hey. Then this data, see it here. So whenever you create a new message, you will get a certain kind of data back. You can specify it. Um, I'll show you where you can specify what you want to get back data. But for now, let's just look at it. So I told you it's going to be nested in data and create message. Look at it here. Then because I performed the mutation, the app sync real-time subscription provides me with this. In your provider, you have value, I mean. Yeah. So in your value, you have the data of create message, and then you have the message created. So it's from this message created, that's wherever source from this message created, that's how I was able to update the current state. Let me show you something. Let me try and send message from another tab. Can you see? I didn't type this here. Can you see? It's updating real time. I'm getting the data from here. You know. In future, probably as time go, we are going to talk more on this serverless. This is basically what I decided to specialize in, and I hope to have more workshops with you guys. Okay, let me just show you one last thing before I end this session. I just feel it's something you should know, so that's why I want to show you guys. So when customizing, let me just run through some things. Okay, so I wanted to add the scroll to bottom feature, but it was bringing a bug. I didn't have enough time to actually set up and stuff like this. I wanted to set up. Okay, so whenever I want to um, get a certain data, that's after I perform a mutation, this is where you specify it. I can choose to get only ID if I want. I can choose to get only username if I want. I can decide to remove this. It's basically JavaScript. Most times, I advise you copy this whole thing, as in this whole operation that was written for you, and store it by yourself. The reason why, this is not something they will tell you, but based on experience, the reason why is because when you push, if you don't push carefully, eh, you may have they may recreate this schema for you. What is the problem with that? Okay, so in a situation whereby you are trying to be flexible, you are trying to develop something, and you've not yet thought through on what you want to develop, and you've created a schema here. Check it out. You've created a schema here. I don't want to show you example, because for me to recreate that board, it's going to take a lot of time. So you've created a schema here, and probably see um okay, I forgot to tell you guys this. This exclamation mark simply means this field is non-nullable, as in it's very, very important. You cannot create anything without this field being there. That's why it's ID that. But you can decide to make username very important. All you need to do is just simply add an exclamation mark. Okay, so probably you've created something before. You've created a schema before. You've pushed it and all, and then you want to change something, and probably what you want to change is one of the important fields that you are not to nullify or make null. And then after changing it, no problem, GraphQL and AppSync will help you out. They will set a schema for you. So you see now, imagine we removed this guy. Imagine we removed message, for example, and message is still in our query. It's updating real time here. But imagine I've created message before and pushed the server from local to the cloud. When I want to get it, if I'm putting a new field that is not there, maybe backend backend guy, for example, automatically this is going to give me an error when receiving data. And most times they don't really care about what is already in the database. They just care about your current schema. So okay, I've already created a new message now, for example, without the message field being there, and I come back to my query. AppSync will generate message for you. So what the point here now is, most times it's good to just copy this guy out into a new JavaScript file so that it won't be changing, because the changing that, of course, that's the them generating this file for you can actually result to a bug. If you want further explanation of GraphQL, maybe later we'll be going to that, but I think that's going to be all for this seminar. The code is on GitHub. You can go through it. I will push a new um, change where I'm going to comment everything, so it will be easy for you to go through. AWS AppSync is really, really easy, and I feel it's a tool that every developer, whether you're a front-end developer or a back-end developer, I feel it's a tool that every developer must have. It is not an alternative to a back-end developer, even though it can do almost everything a back-end developer can do, but it's not an alternative because um, back-end developers are the guys that are actually supposed to master this serverless function. Tech is moving, everybody knows tech is changing. So now what is in vogue now is serverless, right? So as a backend developer, I believe you should learn it. If at all you don't want to go through the stress of learning it, with this workshop alone and with this code I've uploaded on GitHub, I'm sure you'll be able to understand it. I'm very, very sure. Just take your time to read the code gradually and you will understand what is going on. So on so I think that's the end of this workshop. I will be glad to post it once again, probably to talk more in depth on this topic so that we'll be able to add it to our armory and improve on it together. Thank you.
Yeah, you can hear me, right? Hello?
Yeah, you can hear you.
Hello? Philemon, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yeah, guys, I'm very sorry for the break. That was my internet connection. Now, I believe we've learned a lot from Philemon. We've also looked at AWS, and we've also talked about serverless programming, where we discussed AWS Amplified. And then Philemon has given us a clear understanding of these technologies, and he has taken us through some practical example of building a chat application. Okay, so for the resources, description below. And some of the technologies that he mentioned, like GraphQL and some other ones, there will be a section for each of them on this channel. So you might want to consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on any of these tutorials. I want to say thank you very much for joining us, and until next Saturday, keep coding.
Okay.